I'd like to think I'm pretty good at getting rid of bad habits. I've been able to cut out some really bad habits over the past year. Some of those being a bad diet, alcohol, and the corn hub. So I've been pretty successful at getting rid of bad habits and addictions, if you want to call them. But there is one thing that has consistently plagued me and still hurts me to this day, and it's what the old people call that damn phone. I got an iPhone maybe I was 10 or 11 years old, which is too young to have it looking back on it. And to this day, I am still fighting an addiction to doom scrolling, mainly on social media. And I just wanted to share that experience today. I'm going to split this video up into three sections. First, I'm going to talk about, my story, why it's such a problem for me. Secondly, I'm going to talk about why it's so addicting and so much worse than some of the other things that I've had to face. And then lastly, I'm going to offer up some things that have not helped me beat doom scrolling addiction, but have helped it be less bad. So first off, I'm going to talk about my story. I got a phone, like I said, when I was like 11 years old, which is too young to have it. And I wasn't the most popular in middle school or high school. And, I never thought of myself as cool. And I thought, oh, I can have social media now. This is something that will help me, get cooler. So I thought I was the bee's knees. I was, I got Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Twitter. I think those are the only four. TikTok later on, obviously. And, when I was 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, I thought that I was going to be cool if I was using all these social media accounts. So very, very young into my life, it kind of got ingrained on my brain that, this is the thing to be doing. This is great. And obviously, later on, I found that not to be true. But as I got older and I realized that those things weren't very cool, it was almost like it was just imprinted onto my brain as something you do. And throughout high school, and it got better in college, but still it goes on a little bit, just mindless scrolling day after day on social media, accomplishing nothing. And only just recently, in the past month, I've found some methods that have helped me get rid of social media, at least just a little bit. And I want to talk about some of those today. But first, let me talk about why phones, but in more specifically, social media is so addicting. So first off, scientifically, I've talked about dopamine on this channel before. It's the thing in the brain that gives you pleasure. Now, originally back in the caveman days, dopamine was used for reproduction, eating, and sleep. It was made so that we would seek out the things that we needed to survive. But as mankind evolved, we started to make these substances of dopamine that we really didn't need. Drugs, social media, jerking off to porn, all that stuff. We started to make these dopamine sources that we really didn't need. And it's really, really bad because it tricks the brain into thinking we're getting something that we want and is going to be good for us. But it's actually not. And the thing about phones, when you take out this device and hold it up, this is literally a dopamine machine. I mean, it is it's even compared to drugs and stuff. Drugs, you still got to go somewhere, buy it, find it. The thing about the phone is, not only is it literally at your side at all times, it is also socially acceptable. You could be in a social setting, and if you're on your phone scrolling, no one's going to bat an eye. It has become ingrained in society that we have this thing that we can take out and scroll and just feed our brains with constant supplies of dopamine. And, it's readily available, and it's also unlimited, because the thing about another reason it's so addictive is because these social media companies, they design the social medias very specifically. You've maybe heard about the algorithms. You'll hear a content creator be like, "Help me out with the algorithm so I can get more views." So I've done research on this because obviously I'm a YouTuber, so I know a lot about these algorithms, and it's basically the same across all social medias. The social media algorithms are designed to keep you on as long as possible. So for YouTube, for example, the things that the algorithm likes is watch time and click-through rate. How long are you watching the videos and how often are you clicking on the videos? So the videos that do well are the videos that keep people watching as long as possible. It's the same exact thing with Instagram. The posts that people spend the most time on, those are going to be sent out to the algorithm. Same thing with Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok. Every single social media is designed to keep you on as long as possible, feeding you as much dopamine as you can. So it's not your fault, it's not my fault that we get addicted to social media. It is literally how it is designed, which is really tragic because, it can happen to everyone because that's exactly how these algorithms are designed. So obviously you probably know, most of us know, social media is bad. It has very bad effects on people, but I'm going to go a little in depth about the negative effects of social media because I think when you're trying to kick a bad habit, the best thing you can do is learn as much as possible about why it's affecting you rather than just being like, oh, it's bad. Because, parents try to tell their kids, don't do this, it's bad. But I feel like if you can understand why something's bad, that'll give you a lot more incentive to get rid of it. So first off, the pretty obvious one is that social media scrolling, we're going to refer to this for the rest of the video as doom scrolling. And when I say doom scrolling, I mean going on your phone on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever, and literally just scrolling through for no apparent reason. You don't have an end goal in mind. You're not doing it for a specific reason. You're literally just doing it to get an endless amount of entertainment, we'll call it, even though it's not very entertaining most times. But let's start with the number one thing, and that's doom scrolling does absolutely nothing positive for your life. I could go on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, scroll for an hour, and I will be no better off because of it. Maybe on a lucky day, there will be one post that I remember, and it's sort of interesting to me. But like I said, that's a good day. Most days, you'll scroll on whatever social media, and an hour later, you are no better off in your life whatsoever. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a homeless person or you're a CEO of a company, scrolling on social media does absolutely nothing for you. And if it did nothing negative, doing nothing positive isn't the worst thing in the world because, it's neutral. It's not actively harming you. But it is. I talked about this on my video about motivation, but dopamine is a very interesting chemical because it's not just the chemical of pleasure, it's the chemical of desire. It's what makes you want to do stuff. And what happens when you go on social media is you get this constant stream of dopamine flowing to your brain so that when you finally stop, you put the phone down, you stop scrolling, whatever, your brain is satisfied. It's basically biologically telling you, we've done good, we've got our dopamine today. So when you do this doom scrolling for a long enough period of time, what you'll find is when you stop scrolling and the dopamine stops flowing to you, your brain is satisfied and you are much less likely to be motivated to do anything else. So there's something that I've picked up on, and it's kind of the energy draining spiral of social media. Let's say you did whatever, you had work, school, you go home, and you're tired because you had a decently long, intensive day or whatever, and you'll go on and you'll scroll. And you're in your mind, you're like, all right, this is me relaxing. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to be energized afterwards. But what's actually happening is you're sending so much dopamine to your brain that you end up often being more tired and more unmotivated when you put the phone down. I've been thinking about this recently, and I don't think there's ever been a time that I've scrolled on social media and afterwards felt more energized. Because of the dopamine hits, the constant dopamine hits you're giving your brain, there's not going to be a situation where you're scrolling through social media and then all of a sudden you're excited to go do productive stuff. No, it's actually oftentimes going to be the opposite because you gave your brain that pleasure, and then your brain's going to be like, all right, we're good. And then the last negative effect I want to talk about is the effect on people's social skills. Now, I kind of talked about this in my last video about why teenagers are lonely, but Instagram specifically, it is replacing social skills in society because, if you wanted to get to know someone before social media, you had to go out and talk to people. You had to learn about people by interacting with them face to face. But what social media is doing, mainly Instagram and Snapchat, is it's giving you an ability to learn about people without ever having to use the social skills that are so important. And the thing is, in the short term, this is fine. You're not going to have any negative effects on your social skills just by scrolling through Instagram one day or whatever. But if you're doing it every day, you're probably using that as a replacement for the need to be social with other people. And what you might do is what happened to me is you're going to end up in this frame of mind of, I just scrolled through Instagram for an hour. I know everything about whatever everyone's doing. I feel no need to be social right now because that just gave me that socialness that I desire. So what's happening is people are losing social skills and not feeling the need to have social skills because social media is giving people that social experience without actually getting the real social experience, And I don't know how it was before social media, but I can't imagine it is as bad as it is now. There are so many people my age who have absolutely no social skills, no ability to talk to people, and it's not necessarily their fault. It's just that they're on social media all the time and they don't know how to actually have conversations. And I suffered from this majorly in high school. I was always on Instagram and whatever else, and because of that, I didn't really talk to people that much. And it took me a very long time to gain basic social skills, the abilities to interact with people. The main problem with scrolling is not anything that's going to happen if you do it one time. It's that if you make it a habit and a daily part of your day, it's going to have all of these devastating long-term effects on you. It's going to make you lazy and unproductive. It's going to make you lose your social skills. And it's overall just a phenomenal waste of your time. I don't think in my entire life I have one memory of me scrolling through social media and having a good experience with it. It's just never going to be positive. All right, so now I got all that depressing stuff out of the way. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I am going to be talking about some ways to remedy social media addiction because I genuinely believe, well, I haven't had many other addictions, but I genuinely believe it is a disgusting addiction that is very, very hard to get rid of just because, like I said, the accessibility, it's always there, and the social acceptance, like no one's ever going to judge you if you're on your phone, except maybe an old person, but besides the point. So I'm still fighting this addiction, shall we call it. I'm not perfect, but I have found some ways that have seriously helped me diminish it. So first off, what I want to talk about is, like I said, the accessibility problem. The worst thing that happens is once you make that conscious decision to go on your phone and start scrolling, it is almost impossible to get out because, these algorithms, these algorithms are designed to keep you there. So, you go on. It's not necessarily that people have a problem. They can't stay away from it. I've been in situations where, I'm just away from my phone, whatever, I'm working out. I have no problem not going on. The issue is when I'm on, I can't leave. That's exactly the problem. So if you can find a way to limit your exposure to picking up your phone and going on, that's seriously going to help you out because I don't know if you know, on screen time, like the iPhone's way to measure your screen time, it has number of pickups. And, mathematically speaking, the less you pick up your phone, the less you're going to be on it. So you need to find ways to stop picking up your phone so much. So one thing I've found that seriously helped is if I'm doing an activity where I don't need my phone, I put my phone in another room. If I'm reading, watching a show, cooking, at the gym, working on stuff, homework, whatever, my phone is in another room because if it's, I truly believe out of sight, out of mind. When it's in your pocket, it's so easy to just pick it up and whatever. But if you can just get it in another room, you're going to seriously, it's going to be a lot less likely that you're going to pick it up and start that eternal cycle of scrolling. And another thing that seriously helped me with going on my phone less is having things to do when I have nothing else to do. Because one of the big problems is, maybe I have a lull in the day. I have 30 or so minutes where I have nothing else to do. And that's when I, get on my phone and I'm like, all right, I'm going to just scroll for like 10 minutes or whatever. And it ends up being an hour. You need to have things that you can do when you're in one of those lulls where you have nothing you have to do. So me personally, I'm sure it's different for everyone, but I found that going on walks outside, reading books, playing chess, even something like watching a TV show, that's better than endless scrolling because at least, you're out, you have a big screen, I'm not saying that watching a TV show is great or whatever, but it's certainly better than scrolling on this mindless thing on your phone. So having things that you can turn to when you're bored or you have nothing else going on is going to be incredible for you. Because again, the main problem is once you're on, you can't get off. So if you can do anything you can to reduce the amount of times you're just picking it up and going on, that's amazing. So again, find these things that you can do that you can fill in the gaps of those times where you have nothing else to do. So again, if you could put your phone on your bed, go outside, go for like a 15-minute walk, that's going to be crazy for you. Or even if you want to keep it with you, like grab a bag or something, put it in the bag, and then listen to music or whatever while you're walking. Just any activities you can have that are going to take you away from that urge. Because it's perfectly reasonable to have that urge. Maybe you get home from work or whatever and you don't exactly have anything to do, so you're like, why not scroll? but you need to have other things to do. I personally love reading. I put my phone in another room. I read for like 15 minutes. It's been fantastic. It's been one of the things that has helped me the most from staying away from social media when I'm bored. So I'm still in the process. I'm not perfect yet. I still have a screen time of like 4 or 5 hours a day, but that's a huge drop off from the 8 and 9 hours a day I used to have a few years ago. So I'm continuing this journey. The end goal, see, the problem for me personally, most people don't have this problem, but I'm a YouTuber. I do need to be on my phone sometimes. I need to be on YouTube or another social media if I'm researching for a video. So I do get stuck in this loop where I'll like go on to look at something for a video and then I'll just end up being stuck. But basically, that's my only exception. I'm trying to avoid going on social media for any other reason. So it's an ongoing journey, but I feel like I'm finally over the hump of being addicted, and I think everyone should look at it in terms of don't get rid of it completely. Social media is good for some things. You have a fun time with your friends, you post a picture, that's great, but overall, just doom scrolling in general is going to be horrendous for your life in almost every case. So it's something that you really should try to avoid and fill in with other positive experiences. So that's all I got for today. That's my thoughts on the topic of doom scrolling and social media. Let me know your input on the comments. If you have any other methods, please share them because I'm still struggling a little bit. But with that being said, that's all I got for today's video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.